So I want to talk just a little bit more about what we can do with this information, and how, you really need to be fluid with it, and really think about it in order to go from the purchase to the cost of goods sold side. So this 277.38, right? This is my net increase of inventory from the purchase of on December 5th. Well, can I get more information from this? Can I get a per unit amount? Well, I sure can, right? Because I know that I bought 25 units, but I returned two, right? Bought 25, returned two. So this actually represents 23 units that were kept. Now I take 277.38 and divide it by 23. And then I can figure out what the cost per unit was, which is very important for our cost of goods sold calculations. And it comes to 1206. Could do the same thing over here because it represents the same amount of inventory. It's a net purchase number. I could determine what each of these actually became. Okay. Another way to do this, another way, a faster way, okay, is to just look at these price points. This $12 price point is the gross value. But if I take $12 and then net off the discount, ignore the returns because I'm not actually doing it. I'm calculating a per unit without worrying about the return piece. But if I discount the gross price by the discounted amount to get the net of discount amount and add the freight, I actually come up with 1206 again, which is it's comforting because we should, right? Each one of these units is going to be 1206. So when you're thinking about a purchase sell log, okay, this comes to some important things. Discounts and freight will affect the per unit price. So make sure that you know what the per unit price is and that you can calculate it. The other item that arises from this analysis is if we need to, we had to lay out a lot of journal entries in order to figure out the very little, right? Very few entries into these pieces, right? So, in order to make that a little less laborious, we should think about how we can calculate each of those items from just arithmetic, right? Well, 25 times 12 gives me my total price of purchase, my gross price, my gross purchase price. So if I just take the total units I bought, right, before returns, not considering returns, at the full price, that's going to give me my purchases amount for every layer. So you're not discounting anything because we're using the gross method. We're not taking a discount of $12. And we're at all the units because under either method, right, we initially purchase and then we return. Well, about those returns, we return two. So that gave me $24 of purchase returns. For the freight. Now, because we get reimbursed freight, you want to be just a little circumspect. You don't want to do the full freight for all 25 because two got returned. And so really I only have 23 left. And those 23 are going to be at the 30-cent amount. And you'll see that if I take 23 times 30 cents, I get 690, which gives me that freight after reimbursement, which is what we want. So we don't have to record a debit to freight, then a credit to freight. And then the final thing is that discount amount. Now, just really have to think it through, right? I'm asking for the purchase discount, which is not the net of discount amount, it's the just the 2%. And the other thing you got to consider is I only earn the discount when I actually pay cash, right? That's why we don't record a discount or a credit to inventory until cash is paid. I only get a discount on the things I pay for, so only the non-return units. So again, I'm going to go with 23, my non-return units, multiply it by 0.02, the actual discount, not the net of discount, and then multiply that by $12 to figure out what the per unit discount is, and then multiply it by the number of units. 23 times 0.02 times 12 tells me that I got $5.52 of discount, right? You should, if you have not, done this calculation or, just to get used to thinking about how I can calculate these items from this information, pause the video because I am going to go through and lay it all out in rows, but I would much prefer that you do some of the calculation too for each of the purchase points.